Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our show. I'm your producer, Jack Tunney, and we're coming to you live on tape from the Sandwich Studio in Oceanside, California. It is January 21st, 2021. And today's show, we'll be talking about Joe Biden's inauguration and his first day executive action. So you make sure that you like and subscribe, and make sure you leave those comments. And without further ado, I'm going to send it over to the PB&J hosts.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. We have a good one for you today. We're gonna first start, obviously, with the first bite, as we normally do, and then we'll press on to our sandwich of the evening. I'd like to congratulate America today.
Hey.
It is January 21st. We have a different president. We said last show that by the time we're recording our next podcast, we'd have a different president, a whole new set of executive actions to talk about. So, congratulations, America. We did it. Get my glasses. Welcome to Joe's America.
And my name is Brandon.
Did I forget to introduce you?
Yeah, we usually say names before you do whatever the rest of that was.
I didn't even say
but,
my name, did I?
No, you didn't.
They know who I am. I'm Peter
No.
Whitehead.
Yeah, they know us.
It's been a pleasant couple of days for us. I'm feeling good. Let's get into the first bite, Brandon.
All right. Well, we want to start off the Joe Biden. Just gonna sip that. We want to start off with what Joe Biden, his biggest concern for the next 4 years, at least his first year. It's gonna be COVID, and
Of course, as it should be.
yeah, and COVID is always an ongoing story, so it's hard to make a full episode about it. So we try to just cover it when we can. And recently, our home state of California crossed some heartbreaking milestones. The state itself crossed 3 million total cases of coronavirus, and Los Angeles itself became the first city to pass 1 million cases, I believe. I don't think New York ever passed 1 million. I think
I think they're the first.
I think LA would be the first county to.
LA was for a time the number one county for transmissions in the world for COVID-19.
That's like nuts. And it's crazy because everybody was like, "Oh, it's New York. It's the subway systems. It's that."
Yeah.
LA is pretty spread out. LA is
Super spread
is a
out.
car city,
Yeah.
And actually, I have a source from the CDC, and they write that county officials are currently investigating 538 workplace coronavirus hotspots, which is the highest number yet. The country launches.
38.
Yes, the county launches such an investigation when there are at least 3 laboratory confirmed cases in the environment. Nearly every type of workplace in the county, in LA County, is now being investigated, which includes warehouses, offices, factories, distribution centers, police, fire stations, courthouses. Anyway, literally all workplaces.
I have to comment for a second. I am listening to you. Jack Tarman's fucking dying in the background, and I don't know what's happening. I don't know why that's happening, but I want to comment on it because I'm sure you will hear it in the audio track, like his struggled laughter, his strained laughter. So please, Brandon, continue with what you're saying. I just wanted to comment on it so that people didn't think there was like something strange happening in the background.
Please pay us no mind.
I saw it and I ignored it.
That's the
I
best
saw
thing
it.
to do, but I knew that we were going to be able to hear it, so I just had to comment.
Guy with this Kermit hoodie on.
I'm so sorry.
Trying to bring it. So most of the outbreaks that are happening are actually coming from workplaces now.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, as the the country starts to like try to reopen and stuff, because that was kind of the policy.
What do you mean?
Like the policy prior to this administration that just came in was let's try to open the economy.
And yeah, for sure.
And that didn't happen everywhere, obviously, but some places really did try. LA being one of those places, they tried to open up some establishments, try to do outside dining and restaurants and things.
Yeah.
There were a lot of problems with it. I mean, I was in LA not too long ago, and I was driving down Abbot Kinney, which is a road in Venice. You guys might not know, but it's a road in Venice Beach, California. And there were hundreds of people in the streets, like brushing shoulders, walking by each other, some in masks, sure. But
yeah,
like that's really the problem, is the workplaces and people thinking that they can just like go out now.
Yeah, like I could be quarantined 23 hours a day, or not. That's not gonna work. But I could be quarantined 23 hours a day and then go to work. exposed.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not a quarantine anymore. And one official put it in a news conference held this Monday. He said that there are outbreaks everywhere now. So there's no sort
outbreak.
There's no sort of
For the Half-Life fans.
there's no sort of like leeway anymore. Like
Yeah.
COVID is out, it's widespread, like, and even my workplace got shut down a few weeks ago because of COVID, and then it got shut down a second time, and I had to get tested 3 times, and it's crazy because what am I supposed to do? I have to go back to work tomorrow. I work tomorrow. What if we close down next week? Are we just gonna close down every single week forever until this solution isn't permanent?
No.
And obviously LA is going down because not only is it, your police stations, fire stations, warehouses, that kind of thing, but large retail stores are becoming a hub, a hotspot. The article writes, large retail stores have become especially prone to contagion. A combined 349 workers tested positive at 15 stores in LA. A total of 263 workers at 9 Home Depots, 92 workers at 6 Whole Foods, 383 workers at 9 Costco's.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot of people.
Pretty intense numbers.
And according to the county data, more than 11,800 workers have been infected at workplaces that are currently under investigation. And so It seems that, of course, there's people partying. Of course, there's people who are still gathering for Christmas and New Year's Eve. But the standard of how we do business is incompatible with the extreme circumstances of a pandemic, right?
Definitely.
Like, one, we can't just tell people to stop going to work and shut things down if there's no system in place to pay people their full wages, and that's not even really like
now that we
have
a Democratic president in office, we might see something different with the stimulus and everything. So you could see some relief in that regard, but no, I think it's a real problem. I mean, because our economy functions by people power, right? Like by the worker. Well, not even that, but like the worker, right? You can't make the transaction unless the worker is there to take your money, put it in the register, give you the food.
Yeah.
For
sure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And we're not automated enough to the point where we can just say, hey, yo, go home, stay home, let's fight this pandemic. Like, we need certain workers in certain places. We need supermarket workers.
And there's no situation where we could just pay people enough to sit home forever. Like, there's
sure.
Like, it's just not realistic.
Yeah.
There's a middle ground. And the middle ground is having unemployment available to people. Like, I got unemployment for the weeks I didn't work. My job was able to cover me.
Yeah.
For like a little bit of percentage of what I was supposed to make. So I'm still alive, but what if my job closes down next week? What if my job closes down again and again and again? Like, there's no sort of reliability here. Everything is up in the air, and it's very, very scary.
Yeah, no, super scary.
Yeah. Especially when LA is becoming a hotspot for the entire country and the entire world, like you said.
Yeah. No, it's definitely scary. I mean, I'm not gonna go back to LA now, not for a little while, and I mean, at the very least, not until I'm vaccinated, So it's very crazy. To look at the reality of it again and again, and me and Brandon watch and intake a lot of news now because we do this show. What I look at like every day on the New York Times is like the COVID numbers. That's like bright letters right at the top of the New York Times website almost every day. The last couple days it's been like Biden and Trump stuff, but most of the time it's those numbers right like front and center, and you have to look at it almost every single day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super troubling.
It's just troubling.
Yeah.
Like we're blessed to have Biden in there, so we can have someone to rely on, but it's like every day could be like I don't know. Like, this is really sad, but like every day could just be that one day you wake up and like someone has COVID and like the breadwinner. Or, like, and it was really, really powerful to see Biden, sympathize with that. And like,
so we'll talk more about that when we get to the inauguration. But there's a lot that Biden did the day of his inauguration that like soothed me in a strange way. But we'll talk more about that.
Yeah, I also want to talk about a second story that I feel has to do with the same kind of theme of our society not being able to handle these extreme circumstances. So a California healthcare worker wrote an op-ed, and she talked about how her hospital handled business as usual before the pandemic, and how that business as usual basically imploded once the pandemic hit because of the extreme circumstances. So I just want to read a few of her excerpts. I was told to cut it down, so I did, but I would definitely go look it up. WSWS.org, California Healthcare Worker Explains COVID. She writes, right before flu season, a couple years ago, the administration at my hospital fired a dozen nurses and all of the monitor techs. Some of these guys had been here for over a decade. That left the remaining workers in the wards to pick up the slack and monitor the heart rhythms of up to 50 patients. The parasites, her words, who play the stock market have sophisticated automated trading software to make microsecond decisions based on the smallest of market fluctuations. So basically she says, oh, if the market looks bad one day, it might look like we might have to cut more jobs than we might actually need to because of just the day-to-day fluctuations of the market. And she says that resulted in just one schmuck trying to keep an eye on dozens of heart rhythms. And then come flu season, the administration realized that they made a poor decision firing all of these, very important nurses, because instead of running on excess nurses, they ran on a skeleton crew because it was more economically viable.
Right.
They found that most of the nurses that they tried to hire back when they needed them wouldn't come back because they found jobs elsewhere.
I think that's really, I wanted to point out something about what you just said, like the economic side of it.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason we need like government, is because, the libertarian would be like, oh, let's, let the free hand of the market kind of do its thing. And
exactly.
The free hand of the market left us incapable of handling that flu season.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And like they cut those super important people just because at the time they weren't entirely necessary.
Like for a quarterly report.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's a clear example why you need government regulation and government interference into something, so as to make sure that it's not based on your profit margin. Like that, this is a hospital we're talking about. It's supposed to help people.
Yeah.
And they're like worried about their profit margin
on a regular day.
Yeah.
On a regular day.
Yeah.
And then she goes on to talk about, and this goes on to your point of government regulation, why we need it. She goes on to talk about the price of healthcare at this hospital post-pandemic. She writes that one night in the ICU in my hospital is $25,000. Just to be in the ICU for the night.
Yeah, just the bed.
Just the bed.
Yeah.
And that does not include diagnostics, x-ray, or blood work. Anesthesiologists, I don't know what they do.
They anesthesia. They put you under.
Anesthesiologists.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Respiratory therapy and the intensivist. And that's only the room for $25,000. And of course, if you're, dealing with COVID, you're going to need a lot of extra care. You're going to need respiratory therapy. Like I read this long article about how they need like a common process of COVID is flipping you on your stomach so you can breathe better laying down. But you need about 4 to 8 people to flip a person. So if we're understaffed and I've got one nurse, all in 4 rooms, there's no way for us to get enough people to provide that one guy with adequate care because we need more than one person.
Right.
And it's simply unfeasible. And then she goes on to say that most people don't just go to the ICU. Most people go to the ED, which I believe is the emergency room or something. I don't know what the D. But
department.
Yeah, most people transfer from the ED to the ICU, so there's an additional emergency room bill on top of that.
It could also be erectile dysfunction.
Oh, I think that's
probably what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and then she goes on to say ER, so I think that might be erectile.
Well, that's emergency room.
Oh.
So ER is emergency room.
What would I do without you?
But ED, I don't know what ED is.
God, we're unprofessional.
Seriously.
But the cost of the emergency room can vary. But if you're placed in your own isolated room, that can be about $5,000. So
it's the emergency department. So the emergency room and then the emergency department.
Yeah, don't be like me, who looks at the first thing and it was erectile dysfunction.
Oh
yeah, yeah. That's what. If you just look up ED, that's what you're gonna get.
Well, I said ED medical.
Oh, no, you got to say
Yeah,
hospital.
don't
That's
look
what I
that up.
typed in. I typed in ED hospital, and I got the right thing.
That's
Yeah.
So this virus that we didn't ask for is killing us. Now I'm going to the hospital and dealing with $30,000 in medical bills that I didn't ask for.
Uh-huh.
And
While
that's
you're
at a
unemployed
minimum.
and about to be evicted.
Yeah, and I'm probably lost my job, probably, can't pay rent, and now I'm expected to be able to foot this bill. Not only is it impossible, it's almost immoral.
It is. Yeah.
Because
no, I would say it is immoral.
There's
You don't
so
even
many
have to put the
people-
almost.
I put the almost, put some leeway. But
Uh-huh.
there's so many people who don't have health insurance in this country.
Yeah.
It's just a mess. She goes on to write about the private companies that have their hand in the hospital business. Not
Yeah.
only is the hospital a private business, but the ambulances are usually run by private companies and have
Yeah,
their
that's like when
own
you see
bills.
those like McCormick ambulances. That's like a private company. That's not.
He said that can sometimes cost up to $2,500 or $1,700.
Yeah. No, an ambulance ride. Take it from personal experience here. An ambulance ride is extremely expensive. It's ridiculously expensive, and it's like, what are you gonna do? Like I have a broken leg. I'm gonna drive myself to the hospital.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what if I don't have someone around me that's like gonna take care of me? And I'm gonna like drive myself to the hospital, or I can pay $9,000 to take the ambulance ride.
It's basically a scheme. I hate to say it. If it's not a scheme, then it's set up like one.
There are certain parts of industry that should not be run by like pure capitalism. It's just, and this is one of those things.
Yeah, and this story is important, and I wanted it to be led by the words of the healthcare worker because she's in there. She's probably been there for a year. She doesn't get breaks like that. They're working on a skeleton crew pre-pandemic, so post-pandemic, who knows what's happening on her day-to-day like basis, like working these 20-hour shifts that these doctors do. It's depressing.
It is.
And not even when you're looking at the death and the life of it, just the fact that these people aren't even going to be compensated for how hard they have to work. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's important that we move towards a national healthcare system that provides healthcare first and then, request payment afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
It's not more expensive. There's studies that show that socialized healthcare is actually better for the economy and cheaper. We're the only top 8 nation in the country out of Germany, the UK, all of these nations that we consider our peers and our allies. We are the only one that doesn't have a system like them. So in some areas, we really need to catch up. We really need to catch up with the rest of the world.
Yep. I concur. I don't even have anything to add to that.
Yeah.
That was well said.
Turn it around and stick the landing.
You did. You stuck the landing.
Thank you.
Oh, good first bite, Brandon. I liked that a lot. I thought I wouldn't because I saw this writing and I got scared.
Yeah, I also made the font small so you wouldn't.
Yeah, the font. So like we normally put it in like 12 font. He's in like 10 font to fit all this on the. But yeah, it was good. I'm glad you talked about that. It's important. Yeah. So let's do sandwich now. Sandwich?
Yeah, let's jump right into the festivities.
The festivities.
The ceremony, the historic moments that we saw.
Yeah.
You go. You lead me.
Go?
Yes, please.
Me go? Okay. So yeah, we're gonna talk about the inauguration, which was yesterday. We both watched it live, me and Brandon. And it was fun. It was interesting, to see how they were gonna do it, during the pandemic and stuff. And I was excited to see, like some of the old characters of politics. Like I really enjoyed seeing the Obamas there. I really enjoyed seeing like.
It's always funny when like Bush and Michelle Obama get together.
They like sit next to each other.
Bush is always just like, hey. Bush is that guy.
Yeah.
Hey. Michelle be like, hi. I also was like, as it starts, Amy Klobuchar walks down the middle as like the host or whatever. Like
she's the master of ceremonies.
Yeah, she's the MC. I'm just like, great choice.
Yeah. I think it was a great show. I think she did a great job. I thought it was really
What's
funny.
her famous line about the hair in the blizzard? She made a joke about that, and I'm just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't know.
How was your hair fare in a blizzard, Mr. President?
Is that what the line is?
Yes.
Oh my God.
That's how she started her campaign, because she started her campaign in the blizzard. She was like,
oh, she did.
Yeah,
I forgot all about that.
yeah.
It's coming back now.
Yeah, that's a great line. How would your hair fare in a blizzard, Mr. President? Because he's got the toupee.
He's got the toupee, so it wouldn't fare at all.
Exactly. Great line from Amy Klobuchar. Great Democrat there.
Yeah.
Awesome
Great
work.
job doing the MC stuff too. I thought you made some fun jokes.
I thought
Good jokes.
It was cheesy.
Some cheesy
And
jokes.
It was cute.
But Joe Biden is a cheesy character,
for sure.
so like I feel like it's apt.
Yeah, it felt like they were welcoming in their old friend Joe.
Yeah.
That was the
it
cute
really
part
was.
of
It was their old friend. He's just like he's been there forever, dude.
Yeah, it was definitely cute. The fact that there was nobody in the crowd.
Yeah, so I'm gonna talk about that a little bit because it's a very different looking inaugural.
Yeah.
You know? First thing was it wasn't open to the public, right? Yeah, normally for an inauguration, sorry, the hair. For inauguration, you like millions of people show up to DC to like sit in the square, listen to the inaugural speech, you know, take part in that process. But we weren't able to do it this time, obviously, because of COVID-19. One of the things that I thought was stark was I thought about what like a President Trump inaugural would look like for 2020, 2021. You know, that it would be like he would invite the crowd. You know, he would bring the crowd. And
like he said?
Yeah. Like you know, they wouldn't have taken the precautions that Biden did with the inaugural because he likes the big crowd. You know, that's like his thing. He's like, I had a bigger crowd than Obama.
You're saying ignoring all the COVID precautions.
Yeah, so I was thinking about that like while I was watching the inauguration and seeing like this the empty Washington Mall,
all
you
the
know,
flags that they have
the flags and the flowers and things. And I was like, this would have looked so different. It would have been a whole bunch of Trumpers like with their freaking Trump flags and their guns and like it would have been crazy. But so that was a stark contrast, I thought.
I thought there was like something slightly eerie about it. Just
the empty mall.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
I could never put like my finger on exactly what made it eerie. It was just the empty mall, the circumstances,
all the troops,
the absolute pressure on them. Like, the time is now for y'all to take this troubled country and, you know, change the direction and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think the energy was there of like, you know, taking off the Trump coat and putting on the Biden coat.
Yeah.
We're out of Trump.
Yeah.
And it was heavy. It was still heavy. Like I honestly didn't feel the soothing feeling that you felt. I felt the heaviness of the days to come, but the eeriness was very slight compared to the joy of no longer having Trump.
Yeah. The other thing too is that they did like an inaugural concert.
Wait,
so there was history made yesterday. There's the first female vice president sworn into office. It was very touching. She used 2 Bibles. She used Thurgood Marshall's Bible.
Oh, what was that?
Oh, the Biden's Bible is actually a family Bible, if you can believe it.
Wow, really?
Yeah, he's used it as far back as 1973. He gave it to his son, Beau, who we know passed away. And when his son died, he gave it back to Joe. And then he used that to swear himself into the office. Very touching, I think. I think it's pretty touching. What do you think, Jack Tarman? You're making a face.
I think it's like Beau almost, you know, gave him the presidency from beyond the grave, you know.
Yeah, in a way.
Bible and everything. Very symbolic, very touching.
Joe carried Beau with him quite a bit through the campaign. I really felt that. I think, you know, the moment in the second debate when he talks about his son, like, I thought that was, you know, pretty powerful. And
you're talking about when Trump, like,
yeah, Trump dragged Hunter directly following that.
Yeah, totally ruined all sweetness of that moment.
Yeah, because he's like, you have to respect the troops my son Beau Biden fought and, you know, and did all this. And because that was the commentary around when Trump was like said, you know, people were talking about Trump saying that like the military was like losers and what's the other word he used? Suckers and losers.
Schmucks.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh my
Says
God.
the guy who dodged the draft.
Kamala used Thurgood Marshall's Bible and also like her mother's Bible or something like that. It was also a family Bible. And she had the Sotomayor, one of the Supreme Court justices, do her swearing in process. Important because they're both women of color, both kind of glass breakers in their own way for their respective positions of power. I thought it was very cool.
First woman of color to be elected to the Supreme Court. Well, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it's super big deal.
Also, 50% of Biden's administration is a person of color.
A
big deal.
Very, yeah. I mean, we talked a little bit about the cabinet last time, and a lot of diversity there. A lot of diversity. I also talked about his communication staff and press staff, all women. Very interesting.
I've been watching some of them.
She's really good. The press secretary Jen Psaki is really good. She like especially contrasted with like Sarah Huckabee Sanders and who was the first guy? Sean Spicer. Yeah. And obviously Kayleigh McEnany at the end.
The questions that are asked are so like just listen. I've been listening to the questions more than I listened to like her.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. She said that she was going to bring back 5 days a week press briefings from the White House. Try to win back the trust of the populace.
Do it.
Yeah, we'll see if it works.
Our state government's been doing it. It's very easy for you to hop on the podium and talk. Like that's the great thing about 2020. Like live stream that shit. I'll watch.
Yeah, I should have put my hair up, dude. It's causing a problem.
It's like luscious in the back there, like at the bottom.
Yeah, no, it's getting all Jesus-y.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, enough about me. I wanted to ask the boys how they felt about the inauguration in general. I know those two behind there didn't like watch it in its entirety, but how did you feel about it? How do you feel right now compared to how you felt 2 days ago?
Well, just a deep breath of relief. I just let one out right there too. I'm just glad the 4 years of craziness are over, and I'm glad to be back to the government being relatively efficient now at their jobs instead of a bunch of buffoons. And I'm just happy. It feels like everything's going the right way. Hesitantly optimistic.
Hesitantly optimistic from Jack Tarman. What does Jack Tunney say?
I join Jack Tarman in that consensus. I'm cautiously optimistic.
Oh, that's better than hesitantly.
Yes, I'm cautious about it. I think, I saw a little bit of the speeches, and they had the poet, it was wonderful poetry. I watched that whole part. I didn't watch the entire speech, but I watched that poet.
The poet laureate. She's the youngest poet laureate in history.
That's insane.
Yeah, 22. She's our age.
It's a long ass poem.
It's 5 minutes.
But long story short, it was a inauguration that I could sit through and watch and not feel like
garbage.
I'm a piece of garbage.
One of the things that I enjoyed doing was thinking back 4 years ago.
Yeah, and that was something that came to mind too. It was like
I remember like thinking about Barry,
feeling bad for
Barry. I remember. You got anything from 4 years ago? Like how you're feeling? I felt dread,
dude. The first thing Mans did when he got elected was ban Muslims.
Oh, that's true.
That was number 3 thing he did.
Yeah.
And then Joe Biden came in and he's like, "Hold my beer."
We're gonna talk about that too with the
there's
executive
zero
actions,
questions about whether that guy is racist or that's the first thing he did, man.
Yeah, wasn't the border wall one of the early directives?
Yeah, no, nothing about the border wall, nothing about him and his father, not wanting black people to be in their apartments,
and then
all that good
getting
stuff.
Sued.
Oh, you're talking about the great Fred Trump?
Don't talk about daddy.
I can't do my
Don't talk
impression
about
right
daddy
now.
like that.
Out.
Do not talk about daddy like that.
Daddy Trump.
My Trump impression is gonna definitely fall out of style.
I think it's better that way.
I think it's better.
Yeah, the worse it gets, the better it is. It's kind of like Alec Baldwin's Trump. Like it's just terrible.
So bad.
It's so bad,
dude. What's SNL gonna make jokes about now?
Joe.
They're gonna do Sleepy Joe commentary.
They're gonna make Joe comments. Well, yeah, the late night hosts, all of them are gonna be unemployed by the end of this year.
Who's going first? You think?
They got no. Who's going first?
Dude, their think tanks are
Kimmel,
gonna fucking.
I don't
Trevor
like
Noah.
I don't like Kimmel at all.
I don't like Trevor Noah, but I like the people he has on.
I like his correspondence.
Like I like Jordan
like,
Klepper.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Jordan Klepper. What's the Asian guy? He's hilarious.
I don't know. I know Jordan Klepper. I watch a lot of his videos.
He's got great correspondence. No, but I think Kimmel sucks. Kimmel's where Kimmel. I'll call you out. We can have a fist fight live on air.
No, Kimmel is bad, and he does bad interviews.
Yes, he's garbage. Why is he still? Yeah, no, I like Stephen Colbert though. I like Fallon sometimes. I think he's like a little childish, but can't even think of it. Oh, Conan O'Brien, he's pretty funny.
Are any of those guys even like employed still?
Yeah.
All I watch is YouTube and Twitch. All right, let's get back to the topic at hand, which is...
So let's talk about the executive orders. I feel like we talked a lot about the inauguration and stuff. One thing I wanted to say on the inauguration, I thought the speech was okay. Good. I liked that he, like, in no uncertain terms condemned racism, condemned white nationalism, condemned politically motivated violence. That was all good. It wasn't a fantastic speech, though. It's not going to be I think about 2008 Obama's inaugural. Like, that was a fucking speech. This wasn't that. But, yeah, I just wanted to say that. So we can talk about the executive orders now. One of the first things that President Biden did. Ooh, that sounds good.
President
Biden. One of the things that President Biden did, first things he did was institute a 100-day mask challenge. And so he kind of hit a lot of the categories of things that we've been talking about on this show with his executive action. The first was the pandemic. He did a 100-day mask challenge. This is from CNN. He says that a president cannot tell states or cities what to do, but a federal mandate will affect federal offices, federal land, and will urge the states to do the same. Also, certain types of travel, like plane travel, bus travel across states, certain things like that, train travel across states, now will be like, you'll be required to wear a mask, regardless of what the state you're occupying is saying. So that's pretty cool. I like that it's like a specific time period too. It's like 100 days. Because that's what the experts say. It's like if everyone in America wore a mask for 100 days, we'd bring down transmission. Like, it would like skyrocket. Or that's what
President Biden said something about it would save like 50,000.
Yeah,
lives.
It saves a whole bunch of lives and stuff.
Yeah.
So I almost said skyrocketed down like Trump did.
He said no. Pause the show. He said, if you would just follow my advice, cases would start to skyrocket downwards.
Yeah, that's what he said. That's what he said.
Dude, what? A skyrocket down is a crash.
Yeah.
That's a plane crash.
That's a plane crash.
I'm glad you mentioned that, dude.
Yeah, well, I said it on accident because I was thinking about it so much.
It's gonna skyrocket downwards. Thanks, dude.
But yeah, we also rejoined the World Health Organization, the WHO.
Who?
Yeah, so the Donald removed us a little while ago, and he just put us back into it, which is cool.
Donald Trump is funny because he was like, oh, I'm gonna defund this, and I'm gonna make sure that the U.S. can't go into China and figure out anything that's going on, and I'm gonna blame it on the WHO in China.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. He's a lot of what he did bit him. It was pretty epic to watch. The next section is immigration. I think that's you, right?
Well, yeah, because I took immigration, and like I said at the end of last episode, I pretty much was like, I don't have a lot of optimism, like these guys said. Hopefully. Wait, what did he say? Cautiously optimistic. Yeah. I'm very cautious.
Jack Tarman said hesitantly.
I'm very cautious and very hesitant. Optimism will come later for me. But like I said, one thing I need to see is immigration reform. And
right out the gate.
Basically, either the night of the last podcast or the morning after, Joe Biden released his immigration executive orders and his proposed bill for immigration. So it starts off with, boom, he's ending the Muslim ban, which is great. Yep. We had a xenophobic president who said anybody from these countries is at risk of being a terrorist, and so we should ban anybody with this religion from these countries.
Well, not necessarily with the religion, just anybody from the country.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they just say it's the Muslim ban because those countries are like the predominant Muslim countries in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think it was like, oh, you can't say Muslim. Wasn't there like a court case about that, right?
Well, yeah, because that goes against the First Amendment, your freedom of to practice your religion. Yeah.
So that's big. That's
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that we kind of forgot about, right? Like,
Yeah, I really didn't think about it very much. My bad. But yeah, I didn't think about it very much until Inauguration Day.
it's nuts. I
Yeah.
mean, you just sign a bill and just delegate a bunch of people to a corner.
Yeah.
Like he did with the Dreamers, like he did with the DACA kids. He's Joe Biden is also standing up for DACA and allowing them a pathway to citizenship. A lot of this is kind of more fleshed out under the possible bill that I'm going to talk about later. But right now, with an executive order, he is protecting DACA students from deportation. He's also signed an executive order to allow non-citizens to be in the census. Something he said was there has never been a doctrine that says that people who live here, even though they're non-citizens, cannot be like
Counted in the people who live here.
Yeah, exactly. like he said that there's never been a precedent for that.
Yeah, that's one of the things that Trump tried to do right at the end too.
Yeah, that
was get that through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's never been a precedent for that. And Biden is basically putting it into writing that we are going to protect people who live here, even if they don't have full legal citizenship.
Well, yeah, because I mean, like our congressmen still represent them. It's this strange thing. So, like, because they live in the district, they're still represented and still can go to their congressman.
Yeah.
But they're like not. They don't have all the protections of being a citizen. So it's like a strange in between. But we still have to count them when we count how many people live in said district, right? Because that's how you like fairly
appropriate funds, redistricting, all of that stuff. So yeah, and then there's another executive order about the halting the construction of the border wall. Another big deal. I don't know exactly who it was, but there was when they were doing their Senate trials or Senate hearings about who's going to be in the Biden administration. I think it might have been Antony Blinken. It was somebody who has something to do with national security and defense. I have no idea exactly who it was.
Could have been Blinken.
But he went on to say that the U.S. border, and this is just a basic truth, he said the U.S. border is a multi-terrain environment. In some areas there's rivers, in some areas there's mountains, in some areas there's already fencing. So there's no reason to waste money on border walls, building border walls through people's property, on top of mountains, in areas where there already is no traffic.
Yeah. Also, I think that a lot of the commentary that has been made during the Trump years about the invasion or whatever, they it's not that many people are coming over.
No.
It's not an insurmountable amount of people.
It's a lot.
It's a lot,
especially if you let it build up forever.
Well, yeah, if you let it let them sit there in the canals and stuff, yeah.
It'll build up.
But yeah, it's not such a massive problem that you need to spend however many billion that he requisitioned to do the wall to do that. There are easily better processes.
Yeah, and you and I both know that the wall is not going to stop people from coming.
Well, yeah, I've seen those videos. They just climb right over.
I saw a guy slide through. Or he might have slid up. He went inside the wall because it has the gates. Just slide in, just goop, goop, goop.
Wow.
Seemed pretty easy. He did it in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
No, but Biden, on the other hand, and this is the huge legislative movement, because a lot of this stuff has to be legislated upon, because
not everything can be executive actions, ladies and gentlemen. We have a legislative branch for a reason. Legislative branch for a reason. Thank you.
I think a huge thing to remember about this bill is that historically, when people try to reform immigration, they have to, for bipartisan reasons, they have to appeal to security and raising the funds of Border Patrol and that sort of thing. So this bill actually does not raise any funding for Border Patrol or security measures for the border. This bill is solely focused on creating an avenue for citizenship, and that there already is a pathway to citizenship, right? but it's long. It's hard to get to. It's hard to find the
How many years is it?
It's 13.
13.
At a minimum.
Yeah.
So the minimum has been lowered to like 8, and that's even lower for DACA recipients. They're allowed to get it in 5 years. So it's shorter, it's better, and that'll allow a path of citizenship for 11 million people who were here before January 1st, which is all of the people who are basically in between, like we said. And it'll reduce the time for family members who must wait outside the United States for green cards.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like, this is exactly what I was looking for. Just something that is going to speed up the process, because they've also included funding for judges, for immigration judges, to actually
in the
do
immigration
these trials
courts and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
because we
because-
know those are super backlogged.
Yeah, it's just we have an extreme backlog of cases, and it seems like the policy of America has been to just increase a backlog forever and ever and ever. Luckily, we have Joe Biden, who says, no more backlog. Our priority is going to be clearing that out. And that's going to happen. The National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, who I do know, he said that this won't happen very quickly. It'll take a few months before any of this stuff is actually in motion.
Yeah.
And the bill has to be passed.
As all things, you have to go through the bureaucracy. And,
Yeah. Just the fact that there is a path available to these people that have so long been just waiting for nothing, pretty much, like because no one was promising them anything for a long time.
Waiting for the rain.
So, once again, something to be optimistic about for sure. There's also aid to Central America in there too, which is like, people always say, oh, freaking America, you screwed up Central America, and now you shun the people who are coming here for
Like to escape gang violence and
Yeah.
government violence.
So even this bill even has something that'll throw a bone to that problem by offering direct aid to Central American countries. Like, hitting a lot of the bullet points, Biden. Good job. Honestly, good job on immigration. And that's coming from
That's coming from
B-R-A-N-D-N-O-N.
That's coming from Brandon, the Biden hater. I'm not going to give you that title. I take that back.
I mean, he also has talked a lot about climate change. That was another big part of his executive orders. Because we all know at the beginning of the Trump administration, Trump pretty much immediately pulled out of the Paris Climate Agreement. Paris Climate Agreement is basically a multinational. I don't know if it includes like every single nation.
No, but it's a whole bunch.
It's a lot of them, and it's not
Yeah.
just the big ones. It's a lot of them. Basically, getting back into it is going to be very, very important for just designing our green energy policy, because we need to unify ourselves with the rest of the world, and not only like with the policy, but just having the place to do these debates and talk about this. So I think that's important. I think the Paris Climate Agreement is also good because it provides funding to like smaller countries that don't have this kind of funds that America would have to, completely like redo their industry hypothetically. So the Paris Climate Agreement is good because it funds smaller countries. Other than that, though, I honestly think that a lot of the standards that are being set by the Paris Climate Agreement are not enough. For example, there is the standard goal of trying to keep our global warming under 2 Celsius for 10 years, and we're already at 1.2. So I think that we require like a lot more radical solutions than just what it says here, that Barack Obama, who signed the pact in 2015, the U.S. pledged to cut their emissions they pledged to cut their emissions by 25% in 20 years. Joe Biden pledges to do that same thing by 2035. So
it's just pushing back.
It's pushing back a little bit, slowly.
Yeah, like 10 years is pushed back.
Yeah.
The goal. Yeah, because it was from 2005 levels. By 2025, they'd cut 25%.
Yeah, and apparently Biden wants to be emission free by 2035, and then complete zero. Net zero emission by 2035, and completely emission free by 2050.
Yeah. Will it be too late?
It. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Like
The experts do, I suppose.
yeah, like we could sit here and doom and pretend like we know that a volcano is gonna erupt and blow the world apart in a year.
Well, that could easily happen.
I'm not going to put the fear of God in you, but I don't think we're going to make it.
Oh, I'm not gonna make you afraid, but we're all gonna die.
Come on, give me a break, man.
We're just politicians.
But there's other big climate stories as well.
Yeah.
And that's not to shit on the Paris Climate Agreement. It's it's important
solid,
to have
but-
it's important to have a start in writing. I
Yeah.
think I do think that is a good thing, and that is a good thing that we'll see about the Biden administration. He also I was really surprised by the Keystone Pipeline story, honestly, because it came out of nowhere. I feel like that wasn't really a story covered during the Trump era at all.
Well, I'm gonna have to disagree with you a little bit on that because when it was happening and there were the protests, there were the native protests. When a lot of Native because the Keystone was going to go through a whole bunch of Native American land,
and they
over
rose up.
sacred sites and stuff, and they were there and they were super worked up, and there was a lot of police violence, or actually it was National Guard violence, on them. I remember reading those stories, but I don't remember a whole bunch of hype on it.
But that was that was 2015.
Was that no?
That was
I thought it was Trump era.
I'm pretty sure that was 2015. I'm 99% sure.
Continue with what you're saying.
But so Biden somehow pulls this story out of the grave because it had passed. It was gone. The protests had been quashed, and Biden comes out and says, "No, I will not allow the Keystone Pipeline to go through that area."
The Dakota Access Pipeline protests occurred from April 2016 to February 2017.
So that's pretty much during the election cycle.
Yeah, that's right when Trump was running for president, and then into when Trump was president.
Which is still interesting that Biden decided that this was this shows that Biden is actually willing to do things that are more than just what I say is theater, what people will this was something that he thought about and brought back up. Or maybe not him, but somebody did.
Yeah, somebody in his
dope.
Yeah.
Not much to say, dope. That's not pipeline land, that's Native American land. Let them have that.
Hell yeah.
And then there's also Anwar, which I did cover a lot in our first video episode, because Trump had...
Was that the first episode?
The first video episode.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like that long ago.
That was August, dude.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like that long ago.
So Trump, basically ended a moratorium on drilling in the Anwar, Alaska National Wildlife Refuge. And this is the largest untouched piece of land in America, bigger than any national park in California, Nevada, Utah. And it's untouched. There's no houses, there's no cities out there. And Trump decides that this is the perfect time to, drill it. Drill baby drill. And it wasn't just Trump too, because the Alaskan senators, the Alaskan governor, they work pretty hand in hand with the industries up there. So it was this big plan just to develop all this land and make a lot of money, but destroy wildlife, destroy these habitats. It's one of the largest fish hatcheries.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this whole ecosystem. There's native communities up there that rely on the fish for food and the land for this is a untouched native area that does not need to be built on. Yet the Republicans decided that they wanted to. Luckily, they do not have the power to anymore because Joe Biden is reinstating the moratorium that has basically been in place since Jimmy Carter, I'm pretty sure, is when it started. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy long time
So
ago.
since Jimmy Carter to Trump, no one's allowed to drill. Trump ends it. Biden brings it back. That's good.
Good stuff,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. And
I'm realizing, as I look down this list, there was so much that Trump did.
So
that I forgot about or pushed aside or didn't think about very much. There he was kind of like throwing as much as he could against the wall and like seeing how much of it would stick. Like, maybe something would slide under the rug. Like,
And a lot of it didn't slide under the rug, like a lot of it was thrown in our faces, thrown in the headlines, thrown on the front page. And then the next day it'd be like, or unconstitutional, like ended. And we like, it's an overload of information.
Yeah.
And like, we forgot about a Muslim ban.
For sure. Yeah. Like I definitely forgot.
I forgot.
Yeah.
And that's a strategy. There's this common theory about how like Russians, overload people with just like nonsense propaganda. So they tune out and it allows them to, control the populace easier because they force the people to tune out because it's overwhelming.
That's a great album. Control the Population.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you're right. We were distracted.
I'm sorry, Pete. I thought you were gonna say, "Oh, that's a great tactic."
Oh no, that's a great album.
I was like, "Oh wait, I know that album."
It's like somebody like distracting you so they can like take from your back pocket. That's basically what I feel like the Trump administration.
Looking you in the eye so they could steal from you. Yeah. Very strange. I'm glad it's done. I'm glad that Biden has started in on the climate change. I want to talk about some stuff he did for racial equality. This is like kind of minor. I think this is really just kind of getting back to status quo of before Trump. Because Trump started this thing called the 1776 Commission that ran adverse to the 1619 Project, which is so fucking crazy to me.
So sick. It's just like.
And then he also ended diversity and inclusion training on federal land, in federal buildings.
Reinstates.
Yeah. So, no, I'm saying Trump did.
Oh.
And then Biden reinstated that. That's another thing that I forgot about was the diversity and inclusion training. Like, I just didn't even believe that was real.
That's also it too. Like, there's no way.
Yeah, you're just like, no.
That's another thing about politics. Like, they'll tell you and then they'll do it.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the times, you could protest, but we voted for Biden and Biden's going to work. And in 4 years, we'll get to do a referendum on Biden, right?
I think he might be a one-term president and try to hand the reins.
I'm just saying that.
Yes, but in a normal setting, there would be a referendum on Biden in 4 years.
And we went through a Trump era where he's doing stuff like the 1776 Commission, which is basically like a literal campaign to.
It's like white nationalist campaign.
It's like a re-education. But also, like, growing up wasn't like this is already like what I was taught, like, like pro-America teachings and all that.
Yeah.
Like, what exactly was he planning on changing? I think. Like,
well, he was just trying to reverse. So, like, in the last 20 years or so, there's been a lot of increase attention on like the actual education of people about diversity, about inclusion, about racism. And I think he was trying to undo that because like he thinks that's like unpatriotic or whatever, or that's what he says.
Yeah.
That it's like unpatriotic.
Yeah.
To talk about slavery so much or whatever.
Yeah.
Like
we're talking about this as if it was a serious thing, but I do not believe it was a serious thing. Like, I mean, of course it was a real thing, but it was the commission actually, legislating and working on any kind of education plan for the national schools. Like, I honestly doubt it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Like, we know that this guy wasn't working on a vaccine distribution plan, so why would he be working on some kind of like nationalistic school reteaching plan? It's just
the education plan is coming.
We
we never got that, by the way. That education plan doesn't exist.
Was that like a different thing?
No, Trump said in the debate with Biden, like, oh, we have an education plan. It's a great plan. It's coming. Never saw it.
Nonsense.
Never saw it.
What is an education plan? The plan for what?
Yeah, and then there was the healthcare too. He was like, well, we're gonna make it so that pre-existing conditions are protected, but we're also gonna remove all protections for pre-existing conditions.
Makes sense.
That's inaccurate. Don't quote that. But yeah, so that's kind of racial equality. I'm sure more will be done on that, but that was kind of the executive actions he took on that first day. For the economy, this stuff is pretty important. He extended the federal moratorium on evictions till March 31st. Again, patchwork solution to the major problem, but something. At least people won't be thrown out on the street. And he put a pause on federal student loan payments through to December. And a lot of progressives are, hitting that because they were like, oh, he should have just canceled $50,000 of student debt or whatever. That's like what Bernie's saying right now, right?
Well, yeah, because he can.
Yeah, because he can and he didn't. And so people are like, iffy about that. But people are also super iffy about canceling student loans. Have you seen that trolley problem?
What?
You know what a trolley problem is?
I don't know what that has to do with student debt.
Yeah, so the trolley
problem of killing 5 people or 1 person?
Yeah, so that's the trolley. So take that same metric, but then have it be only a single trolley line.
Where are you taking me?
Think about it. A single trolley line. No diverting, no lever. Oh, actually there is a lever. But the lever just stops the train. It doesn't switch tracks or anything. And the trolley problem is 100,000 people have already died on this train track. You could stop the train and save the 100,000 people that are on the train track, or you could not stop the train because all those other people died and it wouldn't be fair to them to let the train make the train stop.
It wouldn't be fair, and it wouldn't be fair, and it would encourage people to get worthless degrees. Not only that, but
all degrees are worthless.
Third thing, it would subsidize white families that make money and kids who go into STEM and go to expensive schools. It would subsidize them and force like black kids.
Is this the talking point?
This
really?
is a literal talking point that they make. They say that it would encourage already wealthy people to go to wealthy schools. Like what?
What?
They're saying that it would subsidize wealthy families.
Okay. They could say that, whatever. Fuck. I don't get that at all. So
somebody teach these people economy.
Wealthy families need subsidies too.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but
my argument with that is that I think a universal subsidy for all families would make it so
that's equality versus equity, right? So like rather than like affirmative action would be equity, equality is like everyone gets
anybody can get this.
Yeah.
Because if there is some sort of division in who gets it and who doesn't, there's going to be the person.
Also, what rich family is taking out student loans?
Also true. There's the person who is like, why am I paying for someone else's school? Well, you're benefiting from it as well.
Yeah, because your economy will be stronger if more people get an education.
That's the argument.
It's a good argument. But yeah, that there's some more executive orders. There's some stuff on like election accountability and all that, but I didn't want to get into it. It seemed a little complicated. Like I just didn't want to like parse it and piece it apart for you guys. But we could talk about that at some other time.
It's still only day 1 of the Biden administration.
Well, it's day 2 now.
It's probably going to be about day 4 or 5 or 6 by the time you're watching this at home.
But yeah, so that kind of wraps up our the executive action section. I wanted to ask the boys again. How do we feel about these executive actions?
We're on the right track.
I don't remember the rest of the words, but that was a very good segue, Jack Tarman. I really enjoyed that. We are on the right track. The man walked into the office, didn't dilly-dally, didn't
17 executive orders.
Didn't scrutinize a specific section of people because of his personal beliefs. He walked in there, saw what he had to do. Probably has been planning it for a little while.
Did
it. Can you stop?
I did it.
Why did you do that?
This is the last time I let bubble wrap stay on this table.
Bubble wrap is on the table.
I don't know why it's there. I didn't put it there. This is not a part of the production meeting.
The best thing I said was, we need to put it in writing first before we can build upon it, right? So I do think that, a return to the way things were is important before we can move forward, as my friends have, reminded me. Because, of course, it's very easy to want more and want the perfect answer at the perfect time. But it is unreasonable, especially when, politics is a system of, working together to get things done. And, even me and Peter aren't always agreeing, but we can still form answers. And I think that it's important that Biden is focused on, finding answers.
Brandon, I just have to say I love you a lot, man. That was very humble of you to say that just now.
Yeah, I mean, I know when I'm irrational, but but irrational people get shit done sometimes, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I think they're some of the most productive people. What the fuck is going on behind the camera right now?
I swear to God, I'm about to take this kid out back.
Take him out back. You know what? You can leave us. We'll be fine here without you. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, we do need you.
Jack Tarman, go sit in the corner over there, please.
Just so everyone knows, Jack Tarman is actually going to sit in the corner.
Because I have authority. And there might be power.
Throwback to the other episode. Oh, we should
yes.
say that before we...
Absolutely.
So if you guys are here watching the PB&J podcast...
This is actually the second PB&J podcast we recorded in one night.
Yeah, so
What?
We started this idea. It was Jack Tarman's idea, even though he's over there in the corner.
He's literally in the corner.
In the corner. But yeah, the concept of it was just, let's break down what politics is. Let's talk about the pieces of politics, how certain things work. And in this first episode, we talked about authority and power. Very, very interesting. We had a good conversation about it. We recommend you guys watch it. It's only 45 minutes. It's a good time. And we think it's really crucial to understanding, the types of things that are happening in the world and why politics functions in the way that it does.
Hopefully just make it a little simpler,
Yeah, as we do here on this show, we just try to simplify things, take it into a digestible form.
Yeah.
That's the same thing that we're going to do with this new politics segment. And we plan to make that a series, do a couple episodes, a couple of different topics and discuss that. And Jack Tarman is at the table for those. He's very excited about it. So yeah, we're going to be doing that.
Just something to supplement the main show, so we don't have to try to define things and spend time, trying to define what we think politics is.
Yeah, because we talk for too long, how it is.
Speaking of talking too long.
Oh, yeah, what's our time?
We're running up on about an hour right now, boys.
Okay, sick. Let's start the milk.
I was going to say, was there anything you wanted to say before I jumped right into the milk?
No, I think we covered it. We'll talk a lot more about the Biden administration, what they're doing to correct the wrongs of the Trump administration, and what they're doing to progress us forward even further past that as we continue down on the show. So let's jump into the milk.
So I was, chilling, relaxing, Thursday morning.
I was at home chilling.
Thursday morning, looking for what the boys might want to watch for the milk. Suddenly, I find a Twitter thread about a new social media app or something.
Clapper.
It's called Clapper, and it looks like it's some form of like a TikTok or like a Parler or something. But oh boy, are the free speech advocates and the free thinkers they're losing it on there.
Free thinkers.
The Trump fans who really thought that Q was gonna storm the breach,
arrest Joe Biden, execute his political enemies,
storm the breach.
Is that right? They
No, that's great.
They are really going through it. So
they're cracking.
Pull it up.
Pull up some of these clips here. We think these are hilarious.
We gotta make sure I turn that on.
Will we be able to hear this though?
Now you will. Oh, you?
No. Yeah, we won't be able to hear this. So we'll just watch them. And then
wait.
Which one did you want me to start with, Brandon?
That one.
Definitely that one.
Yeah.
We've seen all of these.
People are like talking like they're having like a crisis of faith, like they're not sure if they're gonna believe in God anymore because they prayed and nothing happened.
I don't understand how God could let this happen.
Like these are like literal people who are like having like mental like dilemmas.
Oh, I should probably listen.
Let's just hit play on this.
Well, this is that moment when all the Trump supporters that had faith, or at least said they had faith, are drowning in their tears right now. But those who still have actual faith are relaxed, calm, chilling, because they know that there's nothing that can stop what's coming. Let me tell you, people, Biden is never going to be the president of our country. Just because he just swore in does not make him officially. There are documents that have to be signed first. All this means right now is that there is no
So how long are
acting
these class
president.
videos, like, in general? Do they have a
Because the
length?
transfer of power
They just go?
is in the midst and taking place right now. Right now, the military is in control.
Obviously, this guy, he's
Just
talking
sit
about
back
how
and watch
Biden will
and
never,
be patient.
ever be inaugurated,
Yeah.
and how it's
Clap.
just a total fallacy, and how
This guy's name.
It just shouted clapper in my ears.
This guy's name is Redneck Trumper. Dead ass.
Yeah, you'll know you'll never get that handle anywhere else.
Yeah, for sure.
Tony, what did you think about what you just heard?
Well,
Oh,
gosh.
oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Don't play that one.
I'm very sorry about that, everyone at home. You guys remember when Vine was a thing?
No. Don't remember that. Never came up.
Okay. So when Vine was a thing, people got real attached to this form of expression.
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming because Parler was taken away from individuals like this, and they're never going to find a home on Instagram or Snapchat or anything
Twitter.
like that. Or Twitter.
Yeah,
Absolutely
for that
not
matter.
Twitter, because anybody can find you on Twitter.
Yeah.
I understand that they want to make it seem like they're making a threat, but I feel nothing.
Yeah.
It's honestly great theater. As an actor, I find it great theater.
You're looking at this and you're like, these guys are not threatening at all.
Yeah, no, I
That's
don't.
one of
They
one
don't
of
have the
says something
fire.
about that they're like a bunch of pussies or whatever. And he's like talking about himself.
Do you guys remember when Donald became the man at the time?
The Donald?
The
Yeah.
Donald.
When he became the Donald.
And you remember the fire in these people's eyes?
Yeah, it was scary. What
Is there a bomb in here? What was that?
It sounded like a car alarm to me.
Long story short.
Car beeper.
Long story short, I saw the fire in those people's eyes. It was there.
It was scary then.
It was
Yeah.
scary then.
Yeah.
They don't have that anymore.
No, they're defeated.
It's gone. They're defeated,
Yeah,
and
they're
I can
defeated.
see it in their eyes because humans are easy that way.
Yeah.
They give off way too many visual cues when they're upset,
Yeah.
and these people just needed to get that out.
They
But
are
they're not
begging
saying
fuel
it
for the
because they
fire.
can't say it.
Let's do one more. What's a good one?
Play the go scroll down to
Oh no, they're like all gonna play. Yeah, you're just gonna have to keep going.
No, wait, play that one. You gotta play that one. That is the City of London guy. Just play.
Why does he have the American flag up there? Or American map? Sorry.
So, guys, turns out I was wrong.
Yeah, I can hear that from here.
Donald Trump is not going to be inaugurated tomorrow, January 20th. But
like
neither
this
is
in
Joe
here.
Biden.
Joe Biden
So,
won't
I
either.
guess it all starts in 1871. Because that's how long it's been
It's so
since
wrong.
it's actually been a country. Apparently, we've been a corporation owned by the City of London.
I really appreciate his goatee though.
This is how far back
Owned by the
this
City of London.
goes.
Not even
Actually,
hold
haven't
on.
been
You
a
can pause
country,
it there
guys.
because he doesn't even say, "Oh, America is
Mullen
owned
tells
by
says that-
England still." Owned by the City of London since
It's
1870.
the Queen, dog.
Dude.
It's the Queen. She's been Queen since 1870, right?
Okay, next week.
Say 1870?
Yeah, that's a joke. Actually, Victoria was Queen at that time.
But look at what this guy said. He said 1870, America was a corporation. None of that is true.
Okay. I figured out what I do want to show. Just because we're running kind of late. Let's go to the man. Is it on this page?
Yes.
Let's go to this man.
Not that one.
Not
It's
that one.
a-
Not that one.
that's his first
That's
video.
the first one. Oh my gosh, not that guy.
Random raw thought.
This guy.
Oh yeah.
This is spectacular.
I kind of started agreeing with him a little bit too. Like he started speaking fast.
He was like
In
rhetoric.
Samuel L. Jackson's words. Hold on to your butts.
Hold on to
Look at
your
his
butts.
face. Look at his face. He's about to spit.
And I will never, ever call myself
Smoke
a
in the air.
patriot again, because to me, patriots are just cowards.
Hold on, wait. Brandon, I just realized this. There's a common theme in a couple of these.
Right.
These people really love to smoke cigarettes in closed spaces.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but then one guy was smoking a cigarette in his car
In the car with the
with the windows up.
This guy's like in his family room.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, I just had a theme.
That's all you are. You ain't gonna do nothing. You're not gonna do a fucking thing.
In the background, or
You're not gonna do anything but bitch and moan and whine.
What?
Yeah, I think it's this guy. It's one of these videos. He's just speaking crazy. I think it might be this video, but you might be able to hear like a little kid like in the background while he's smoking and speaking all of these like
this hateful rhetoric.
Yeah.
All I know is the end 2 seconds of this video is the most iconic thing to happen in 2021.
Yeah, let's get it.
Yeah, start from the beginning, honestly.
Fine.
Let him rock.
All right, ready? Everybody stop.
Hold on to your butts.
And I will never, ever call myself a patriot again, because to me, patriots are just cowards. That's all you are. You ain't gonna do nothing. You're not gonna do a fucking thing. You're not going to do anything but bitch and moan and whine and get on these little sites and say, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. No. And you're not going to do dick.
Look at the head movement.
The motherfuckers on the left, they got way more balls than the motherfuckers on the right.
Yeah, we're so
They're way stronger, way smarter,
Way smart.
and got way more power.
And
And got their shit together. What do we got? A bunch of motherfuckers on fucking Clapper and shit saying, "Ooh, we need the storm's coming. We're going to be the storm." Fucking, you motherfuckers are a joke. The fuck? I'm about ready to go join Antifa. I will.
I'd just like to clarify, everyone. This is my uncle. Just kidding. My uncle's name is Jorge.
Put us back up on
That's right. Sorry.
the screens.
You guys are egomaniacs.
Shut up, Jack.
He said, about ready to join
That was
us.
for retirement, not Tunny. Yeah. So that we're about ready to join Antifa too. I think. Me and Brandon.
I don't know if we can say that out loud.
Excuse me, FBI agent. That is
It's
not a true
clearly a
state.
joke. It's in
statement,
the
please.
reference to the
In a video game. If in a video game.
The kids
drag me
kill
out
each
and mace
other
me.
with assault rifles, and it affects their brain.
Yeah. So yeah, no, we're feeling good. You know, it's a good time. We're feeling good. There's good things happening, more good things to come, and we'll bring them to you as quickly as possible from the PB&J podcast. Make sure you check out our lunch bag politics.
Lunch bag.
Brown bag.
Politics. Working title. It'll be posted around the same time that this is. We hope that you see it.
And just remember that you know where to find us and know when to find us. Every single Monday mornings. We want to be there every Monday to start your week off. You know? Get into the routine of looking for us.
Definitely,
because we'll be there.
Yeah, we'll always be there, and we're working really hard on making this show a little bit shorter, a little bit more succinct to give you guys what you need and not all this extra flourish. I'd like to thank Jack Tunney. I'd like to thank Brandon Blackman. I'd like to thank Jack Tarman for staying in his corner. Still in the corner. I'd like to thank David for doing the editing and all that, and you guys, the viewer at home, for making us continue on to do this. Make sure to comment down below. We'll see you next week.